Good morning. It is July 5th and I have the day off work, so I have been working on a design for a frame that hopefully will get made. And I figured, well, I actually ordered my Pinion gearbox and received it, so I figured I would do some tests with it. There's some questions I've had about it, and actually questions I've been asked, so I figured I'd see if I could answer some of those.
To go.
Holy crap, this is good stuff right here.
Adam Yates is right on the wheel, over the top of the climb, solo leader, yellow jersey.
Can you imagine being at this race on the sideline and just seeing the yellow jersey come through 25 seconds ahead? That would be awesome.
Around, he sits up. It's 7 stage wins in the Tour de France. Van Aert with an absolute masterpiece. Philipsen celebrates.
All right, back to business. I did want to take a measurement of the as close as I could, the force that it takes to press this down on a new gearbox, because they loosen up after a while. As you can see, it's kind of slowly dropping. That'll become a lot more loose. But I realized I'll do that later because I want to do it with a belt attached with an actual hub as well. I will, though, try and show how many pawl clicks there are in a full rotation, which I guess can give you an idea. And actually, so what I've done here is locked the chainring in place, and this is basically horizontal, so let's count them. Whoops. I'm going to say there's like 14, and you can do the math on it too. 360 divided by 14. So I'm working on this mount area. I actually 3D printed, this is for a previous revision, the mount basically that goes right here. Oops, right here. It wasn't perfect. I've adjusted my measurements. I'm going to have to 3D print probably just a strip. As you can see, my filament is, I think, wet, so I'm gonna have to whatever. And I was thinking about it, and I was wondering why this guy and this one don't have these little sleeves in here, but all the other 5 do. And I'm wondering if these actually are like bushings, or I don't know if that's the right word, that will squeeze in against the frame as you tighten bolts. I'm not sure, and I actually haven't figured out. I'm sure they're out there, but what bolts, how I'm going to bolt one side to the other, because I don't think I want to. I think that's how I want to do it. I guess we will see about that. I'll weigh the gearbox here. I don't have any crank arms on it or the belt ring, and it's straight from, I bought it from Bike Man, and so I'm assuming it's straight from the factory. Just thinking about like the oil and whatnot in it. It has these attached as well. I'll probably let them hang off, so they shouldn't play into this really. And we're looking at 2209. Be interesting to see what they actually listed as. Let's measure this. 84 grams, and then the other thing is this little, I don't know, bolt thing that keeps the belt ring onto the gearbox is 10 grams. And this is what I think I'm planning on using. I bought it, so 32th rear cog, 70. I weighed these previously in a different video, but whatever. These are brand new, so 225, so it'd be 450 between the two of them. And the stuff you don't care about. I have these Ergon grip shift, and it says 110 grams per pair. Let's see. Well, you know what? Let's okay. Oh man, nice. A heart rate monitor. Whatever, 43, something like that. Specialized men's trail gloves, these guys. 52 grams for the pair. The Park Tool MT1, which is either the best or the second best tool, along with the Specialized SWAT tool. 43 grams. My old POC Octal helmet, super old. It's like from like 20, I don't know, 16. I just keep putting new pads in it. Probably too grody for some among us. But anyhow, let's see here. 254. And some Crank Bros pedals that I have. I think these are the Candy 3s. I could probably look it up, but and I think this is an old Egg Beater 1, and this is a new Egg Beater 11. So, not that that's necessarily apples to apples, but so 147 for the Candy. 138. I actually thought these were heavier than the Candies. That's interesting. And 95. Yeah. So quite a bit lighter, and you can feel it. And these are, I like these. My favorite pedal ever, I think. Ooh, man, I'm light. I'll take care of that real quick. So yeah, with that, I guess I'll talk a little bit about the frame design that I'm working on here then. So I'm using Dassault's X design to create this bike. I've used SolidWorks a little bit in the past. I think I've actually used X design several years ago. But it's like $10 a month. It's been a little bit of a learning curve actually, because it's a little different than SolidWorks, and I do most of my 3D CAD stuff in OpenSCAD. So, but OpenSCAD wasn't gonna work for this. So pretty cool that I can use this. But anyways, this is like my, I don't know how many times I've redesigned this frame so far in the last couple weeks, but I think like I've completely started from scratch 4 times, I think, and then kind of ripped it apart and put it back together. The geometry I'm going for is to match as close as I can to the Specialized Epic hardtail, although I can't exactly because of the back of where the pinion mounts is further back than the bottom bracket for a regular bottom bracket, and so that necessarily pushes the entire wheel back, the axle. I think, I can't remember, it was like two, I don't remember actually, I think 2 centimeters, 1 centimeter, not enough for me to care. And just now, right now, what I'm working on is trying to figure out how to design this area, because there's a video, actually I'll put a link to it and show you on screen. These guys, Easy Composites, their website is, I'll put it in the description, but easycomposites.co.uk. Have lots of awesome videos. This one about making a bike is sweet. And then this forged carbon compression style as well. Essentially what I'm doing here is I'll need to put vacuum bags in here that will expand through the middle, and I think down here with these, I don't know how this is going to work, so I think I'm going to expand this up kind of like the Zerode frame. I don't know if I'll do that exactly that, because they do it a little differently than I am. The geometry is way different, the angle of the pinion is different, but I could do something to this effect. And one of the things I'm really trying to do with this is make it so it's as easy as possible for me to lay up the carbon. So I think if this is thicker down here, it's going to be easier to get in there. I've never done this before, so I don't really know. I'm probably gonna have to do this a few times. And then the other thing that'll help with a lot of this stuff is when I put fillets on. I'm kind of learning the process, and I'm gonna wait for fillets and like thickening these guys till the absolute end. I want to get the kind of the main parts of the geometry down and then work on that. Another thing that actually today I'm gonna start working on, I hope, is the chain and seat stays, and I'm gonna have to put a joint in there, and I'm not sure how I want to do that. I think there's a couple options. I would ideally like to when I lay up and we'll lay up the frame with the molds. There's a half mold on this half and a mold on that half, the left and right halves. I'd like to just have that just be two pieces, but doing the stays is tricky because you have to kind of lay up what would be the outer edge, and then you have to have multiple pieces to go in. It's hard to explain, but one of the things I may do is make the stay differently, and then you can actually like epoxy them together. So to be determined. That's going to be a weird one. A couple other notes are when I do create the kind of the stays area. Let me bring up a picture here. One thing I have not figured out, and this is going to be interesting, is how to design it for the through axle, because one side has to be threaded, although I think there are through axles that you can put, they have like bolts on the other end. I know I could do that. I could buy a dropout and do that if nothing else, and like cut it. But yeah, I don't know what the options are there, what I'm going to do. I have to figure that out. Another one is the brake, I don't know, I'll call them bosses or mount dimensions. I guess what I'll probably do is measure, because I have bikes with I think 160s, so I can measure and figure that out. But I'm kind of surprised I haven't found any place that has these. Like, this has to be standardized, I would think, or at least it has to be standardized, because different brand of brakes share the same mount points, so kind of weird. And then other things would be, I think I'd like to do internal routing, actually specifically for the pinion. We'll go here. Actually, let's go back to here, spin this guy around. So this will be the non-drive side, and the pinion will be right here, and it'll have two shift cables. Bada bing, be oriented like that. Will come out, and there's actually a lot of frames that have them just go die right into the frame and then come out. I would definitely like to do that. I will be I'm designing this without, I'm intending to use this frame with an electronic dropper seat post, so I don't have to worry about cables there. And those are the only shift cables. Those are the only cables on the bike then, be the pinion. Tangent here, I would love to see an electronic shift system for the pinion. I don't know if it's possible. Sort of like, well, I think it is within my skill set to be able to make one of those maybe someday. I would rather some other company with lots of people and money do it, like Cinq or something, I don't know. But that would be dope if they had like a wireless electronic shifting system for this guy. I know one thing to consider there would be a battery and yada yada blah blah. And the reason I say I don't know if it's possible is the way that the pinion system shifts, where if you, I don't remember exactly what's what, but under when you're applying pressure to the pedals, when you're jumping, I think it's with the 12 shift, it's every, I think, 4 gears you can't shift. I don't remember, but basically you can't shift in some situations. So I'd imagine an electronic system would have to be able to detect that. That'd be interesting to see how you do it without like breaking the little gear mechanisms. I don't know if you need a clutch. You could maybe try for a certain amount of time, fixed time, and if it doesn't go anywhere, then you stop for, I guess, so you don't waste like current from the battery. Who knows? I don't know. So there's a couple other things I figured I'd talk about today since I'm making a video, and the first one has to do with cranks. These are the whatever the more expensive cranks from Pinion, and I want carbon fiber cranks, and I actually found carbonwasp.com has some pretty cool stuff, and these look interesting. I think they're 500 pounds, or no, they're 400 pounds, which is $500, I think, something like that. You know, you're gonna spend on them. This is obviously going to be a small company. Kind of interesting the way they're made. I don't know if it's even worth it for me to try and make my own. I'd be interested to see what these weigh too. He may have it listed here. I can't remember. But anyhow, these are pretty dope. The other thing was these trigger shifters or paddle shifters. I don't know what they're called. The Cinq Shift R for Pinion are something I think I'd like to get. I don't know where you can get them because, you know, here, let me show you Cinc's website. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's my DNS filter that's blocking, and I turned it off and I still can't get anything, so who knows. But Cinq has some really cool products. They have like these, what do they have? Whatever, go to their website and check it out. I found this on Cycle Monkey. This page could be real old, so I don't know. But it says, if you're interested in purchasing Cinq 5 shifter sets, please contact us at orders@cyclemonkey.com in case you're in that position. So maybe just a special order. It seems like a lot of the stuff from Europe is not always easy to get. I'm just super pumped that Bike Man has the Pinion stuff available. So if you're in the US and you're looking for Pinion stuff, it's one place to get it. So I figured I'd talk a little more about what my plan is, because it's actually changed since this last video that I made. Basically, as I have money to spend, so insurance can reimburse me, I think I'm gonna buy an S-Works frame and actually just swap out this frame and start and like also fork and all the other parts I have. Basically gonna rebuild this bike, I think, little by little, and replace most of the parts on it. And then I'm thinking with this frame and like the wheels and stuff, I don't know, maybe I'll make a single speed. I was actually thinking about doing a fixed gear mountain bike. So I don't know, we'll see. You know, the problem there is I'm gonna have to buy a whole bunch of new parts, like a different rear hub, get this rear wheel rebuilt. I don't know, maybe I could ride with this with fixed, but I think I'd want a rigid fork. I'd have to buy another, well, no, I have handlebars. So I don't know. And then what I'd like to do with the S-Works frame would be Di2, but looking at the cost of that, I'm like, oh, it's expensive. And there's other places I want to spend my money. So I'm thinking I'll probably just keep this guy in reality, which is a big bummer. We'll see how greedy I get. The other really interesting thing actually is I've been measuring the geometry on this. I've been using this bike and then my wife's bike, which is carbon, for measuring stuff like the thickness of seat tubes or top tubes, whatever, just comparison, you know, little offsets where things meet, blah, blah, blah. And this frame has pretty much the exact same geometry as the Specialized Epic hardtail. So I was like, oh, that's sweet. That means I know this geometry, I can go off of that. Anyways, just interesting, weird, stupid, useless facts. Last thing for today, actually, as I was editing this video together, the mail came. This came from, I think, the Netherlands, and yeah, I'm excited. I do use a road saddle for my mountain bike. I love this thing. The reason I got hooked on this is back in the day when I worked at a shop, there was a pro rider who came in and he had this saddle and said it was broken. He was sponsored by Physique, and they told him just to trash it. So he asked us if we could get rid of it, and I sure did get rid of it for him. And I never could find the crack or the squeak. It worked perfectly. So that was fun. Now I have to, well, I guess I didn't have to buy this. Insurance covered this from the stolen bike, but I love days like this. I can't get any detail on the camera. It's gorgeous. All cloud covered. Alright, say goodbye, Audrey. You don't want to? How about you, Smog? Nothing to do with it?